Deep sea world is very scary and dark. It is actually the layer of the ocean, where no light reaches and darkness is present all around. Today we'll talk about deep sea creatures. What are deep sea creatures? Deep sea creature refers to animals that live below the photic zone of the ocean. These creatures must survive in extremely harsh conditions, such as hundreds of bars of pressure, small amounts of oxygen, very little food, no sunlight, and constant, extreme cold. Most creatures have to depend on food floating down from above. These creatures live in very demanding environments, such as the abyssal or Hadel zones, which, being thousands of meters below the surface, are almost completely devoid of light. The water is between 3 and 10 degrees Celsius and has low oxygen levels. Due to the depth, the pressure is between 20 and 1000 bar. Creatures that live hundreds or even thousands of meters deep in the ocean have adapted to the high pressure, lack of light, and other factors. Today, we will have a look on most bizarre and terrible deep sea creatures. Cookie cutter shark. The cookie cutter shark, also called the cigar shark, is a species of small squaliform shark in the family Delatiidae. This shark occurs in warm, oceanic waters worldwide, particularly near islands, and has been recorded as deep as 3.7 kilometers. It migrates vertically up to 3 kilometers every day, approaching the surface at dusk and descending with the dawn. Reaching only 42 to 56 centimeters in length, the cookie cutter shark has a long, cylindrical body with a short, blunt snout, large eyes, 2 tiny spineless dorsal fins, and a large caudal fin. It is dark brown, with light-emitting photophores covering its underside except for a dark collar around its throat and gill slits. Tardigrades, also known as water bears or moss piglets, are nearly microscopic organisms that can live in ocean depths up to 15,000 meters below the surface. They are arthropods that have 8 legs and puffy bodies that resemble the caterpillar from Alice in Wonderland. Tardigrades are astoundingly resilient and can survive conditions that would kill most other forms of life. In extreme conditions, they can transform into a dehydrated ball, called a tun, to preserve themselves. Researchers say that tuns are proven to be able to survive extremes of 300 degrees Fahrenheit and minus 328 degrees Fahrenheit. They can also withstand 6 times the amount of pressure present at the ocean floor. Atlantic wolffish. These are voracious predators, and the large head, powerful jaws, and large canine teeth are all used to hunt and eat hard-bodied or spiny invertebrates, such as sea urchins, crabs, large marine snails, etc. They reach lengths of up to 5 feet, 1.5 m. These fish are restricted to the cold waters of the North Atlantic Ocean, and their blood contains several natural compounds that prevent it from freezing. Atlantic wolffish are good table fare, and throughout its range, it is fished by both recreational fishers and occasional commercial net fishers. Whiplash squid. The whiplash squid hovers at the ocean bottom, as deep as 4,920 feet, in a vertical position. The squid resembles a tuning fork in this stance and uses it to remain in its feeding zone. This creature uses the fins on its mantles to move through the water and hold its hover position. Some have bioluminescent spots called photophores that produce light on the skin or around the eyes. Scientists know very little about the whiplash squid because, until modern deep-sea submersibles spotted them in 1992, they were only able to examine dead specimens. Mariana Hadel snailfish. Hadel snailfish have been spotted as deep as 26,831 feet, more than 5 miles below the surface, in the Mariana Trench. This habitat, called the Hadel Zone, lends its name to the fish. These fish may look like cute tadpoles, but they are the top predators in their habitat. Due to their deep-sea home, they have evolved to have thinner muscles. Larger stomachs, livers, and eggs, and more flexible cartilage bones than their shallow water relatives. Scientists estimate that these fish withstand pressure equivalent to the Eiffel Tower resting on someone's big toe. Wow, that's very interesting. Flashlight fish. Flashlight fish. Also known as lantern fish. Lanternfish bring their own light to their habitat 1,300 to 3,000 feet below the surface during the day. At night, they ascend to feed as high up as just 82 feet below the sea level. The lanternfish uses photophores on its body and snout to provide the light to see with its large eyes. These tiny swimmers are only 1 to 6 inches long and live about 1,000 feet deep in waters worldwide. Lanternfish are an essential part of the food chain, serving as the primary food source to larger animals like squid, tuna, salmon, whales, and penguins. Unfortunately, lanternfish consume plastic debris from the ocean that then becomes food for other animals. Anglerfish. The angry-looking deep-sea anglerfish has a right to be cranky. It is quite possibly the ugliest animal on the planet, and it lives in what is easily Earth's most inhospitable habitat, the lonely, lightless bottom of the sea. There are more than 200 species of anglerfish, most of which live in the murky depths of the Atlantic and Antarctic Oceans, up to a mile below the surface, although some live in shallow, tropical environments. Generally dark gray to dark brown in color, they have huge heads and enormous crescent-shaped mouths filled with sharp, translucent teeth. Some anglerfish can be quite large, reaching 3 feet in length. Most however are significantly smaller, often less than a foot, generally dark gray to dark brown in color. They have huge heads and enormous crescent-shaped mouths filled with sharp, translucent teeth. Some anglerfish can be quite large, reaching 3.3 feet in length. Most however are significantly smaller, often less than a foot. Dinner plate jellyfish. This dinner plate jelly is one of the jellyfish that calls the dark of the sea home, in this case, 2,300 to 3,300 feet below the surface. Unexpectedly, they don't wait around for food, choosing instead to actively seek out the zooplankton and other jellyfish that it eats. This behavior is unique among cnidarians. The Okeanos explorer photographed the one above in the Musician's Sea Mounts, a set of underwater mountains north of the main Hawaiian Islands. Before this exploration, the area had not received much attention from scientists. It documented many types and aspects of marine life, including other little-known and previously undiscovered jellyfish, for the first time. Oarfish. The strange-looking oarfish is the longest bony fish in the sea. Known scientifically as Regalicus glesn, it is a member of the Regalicidae family of fishes. Because of its long, thin shape, the oarfish fish is sometimes known as the ribbonfish. The most noticeable feature of the oarfish is its extremely long, ribbon-like body. These fish can reach a length of over 50 feet, 15 meters, and weigh as much as 600 pounds, 272 kilograms. Its scaleless body is covered with a silver to silvery blue skin and is topped with an ornate red dorsal fin that resembles a decorative headdress. This dorsal fin runs the entire length of the fish, with a tiny spine projecting above each of over 400 individual fin rays. Giant tube worm. The giant tube worm, also known as Riftia pachyptila, was totally unknown to science until researchers exploring the deep Pacific Ocean floor discovered strange, hydrothermal vents. Giant tube worms have been found throughout the Pacific Ocean where deep-sea hydrothermal vents have been discovered. The average depth of these vents is 5,000 feet, 1,500 meters. Entire communities of shrimps and crabs have been found living around these giants. It is believed that these invertebrates feed by nibbling off bits of the tube worm's red plumes. These giant tube worms grow up to 8 feet, over 2 meters, in length, and have no mouth and no digestive tract. They depend on bacteria that live inside them for their food. This type of mutually beneficial relationship between two organisms is known as symbiosis. The bacteria actually convert the chemicals from the hydrothermal vents into organic molecules that provide food for the worm. Perhaps the most noticeable characteristic of these worms is their bright red plume. This is a specialized organ used for exchanging compounds such as oxygen, carbon dioxide, and hydrogen sulfide with the seawater. These were some of the deep-sea creatures, but deep-sea world contains a lot more to discover, and scientists are researching on these to bring these creatures into the light.